Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. Mr. Tim Pate and Jonathan Eder are here tonight. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm good. You
Excellent.
good?
I'm excellent.
Right
Thank you.
on.
Cool. They're ready to play some music for us. We have a longer than usual hemp news segment tonight with several stories on recent medical advances and medical studies that have been published here over the past couple of weeks. And we'll be taking your phone calls in just a few minutes as we bring out our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Okay, our first story tonight is out of Olympia, Washington. A coalition of Washington state House lawmakers have introduced legislation that seeks to legalize and regulate the, quote, production, distribution, and sale of marijuana to adults. As introduced, Washington House Bill 1550 will allow for the state authorized cultivation and distribution of marijuana and marijuana-related products. Quote, the legislature intends to promote commerce and competition within Washington by eliminating penalties for the possession and consumption of cannabis, regulating and taxing the sale of cannabis by the state government, and licensing cannabis growers, the new proposal states. The measure has been referred to the House Committee on Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness, which rejected a similar measure last year by a vote of 6-2. According to the bill's sponsor, Democrat Mary Lou Dickerson, she said, quote, I'm confident our bill will break the back of the cannabis crime syndicate's profits and make it possible to preserve vital health services across Washington in these very difficult budget times, end quote. Again, that's a quote from Democrat Washington legislator Mary Lou Dickerson. According to a 2010 analysis by the Washington State Office of Financial Management, legalizing and taxing marijuana sales could yield over $300 million in new revenue per year or biennium. Proponents also argue that passage of the act could also result in an additional estimated $25 million per year in law enforcement savings. Similar legalization measures are expected to be introduced in other states later this year, including California and Massachusetts. For more information about the Washington bill, you can go to the Washington State chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union at their website, aclu-washington.org, and look for their drug policy information. Our next story is from Denver, Colorado. An analysis of Denver crime statistics for 2010 contradicts claims that the operation of medical marijuana dispensaries are associated with the elevated incidences of criminal activity. According to a Denver Post story published this week, quote, a Denver police analysis completed late last year of areas around dispensaries showed that the number of crimes in those pockets dropped in the first 9 months of 2010 compared with the same period in 2009. The drop of 8.2% was marginally less than the city's overall drop in crime of 8.8%, according to the police. A separate Denver Post analysis of citywide crime committed in the first 11 months of 2010 found, quote, some Denver neighborhoods with the highest concentration of dispensaries per capita saw a bigger decrease in crimes than did some neighborhoods with no dispensaries, end quote. Over 800 state-licensed medical marijuana dispensaries presently operate in the state of Colorado. That's down from 1,100 last July when the state began to license commercial dispensaries. The highest concentration of these facilities, of course, is in Denver, Colorado. Previous analysis also failed to find any association between the proliferation of medical cannabis dispensaries and elevated crime rates. For example, A 2010 review by the Colorado Spring Gazette newspaper reported, quote, police have yet to find a correlation between the city's approximately 175 cannabis shops and increased crime, end quote. A similar 2009 review of Los Angeles crime data also failed to establish a positive link between medical marijuana facilities and crime. The rest of our hemp news stories tonight are medical. We have three here. First, out of Jerusalem in Israel, the administration of non-psychotropic cannabinoid CBD or cannabidiol restores liver function and improves brain pathology in experimental models of hepatic encephalopathy, or brain deterioration due to liver failure, according to preclinical data published online in the British Journal of Pharmacology. If untreated, the liver condition can result in coma and death. An international team of investigators in Israel and Greece assessed the impact of CBD on neurological and motor functions in mice induced with liver failure. They reported, quote, neurological and cognitive functions were severely impaired in the treated mice and were restored by cannabidiol. Similarly, decreased motor activity in the treated mice was partially restored by cannabidiol. The authors concluded, quote, cannabidiol restores liver function, normalizes the 5-HT levels, and improves brain pathology in accordance with normalization of brain function, end quote. A 2009 study published in the journal Trends in Pharmacological Sciences reported that CBD possesses over a dozen separate therapeutic properties, including anti-cancer properties, anti-diabetic properties, anti-epileptic properties, and antibacterial properties. The full text of this study, cannabidiol improves brain and liver function in a fulminant hepatic failure-induced model of hepatic encephalopathy in mice, end quote, appears in the British Journal of Pharmacology. Our next story tonight is out of Madrid, Spain. The combined administration of THC and the pharmaceutical agent tetomazalamide, or TMZ, demonstrates strong anti-cancer activity in brain tumors resistant to conventional anti-cancer treatments, according to preclinical data published online in the Journal of Molecular Cancer Therapeutics. Investigators at Complutense University in Spain assessed the anti-tumor activity of the cannabinoids THC and CBD, or tetrahydrocannabinol and cannabidiol, in glioma xenografts, or tissue grafts. The authors reported that the administration of THC in combination with TMZ, the benchmark agent for the management of brain cancer, enhanced the autophagy, or the programmed cell death, in malignant tissue. The combined administration of THC, CBD, and TMZ remarkably reduced the growth of glioma xenografts, produced a strong anti-tumoral action in both TMZ-sensitive and TMZ-resistant tumors, end quote. They concluded, quote, altogether, our findings support that the combined administration of TMZ and cannabinoids could be therapeutically exploited for the management of GBM, glioblastoma multiforme, end quote. In 2006, a pilot study published in the British Journal of Cancer reported that the intratumoral administration of THC was associated with reduced tumor cell proliferation in 2 of 9 human subjects with GBM, which is highly resistant to conventional anti-cancer treatments. Separate preclinical studies assessing the anti-cancer activity of cannabinoids and endocannabinoids indicates that the substances can inhibit the proliferation of various types of cancerous cells, including breast carcinoma, prostate carcinoma, colorectal carcinoma, gastric carcinoma, skin carcinoma, leukemia cells, neuroblastoma or brain cancer, lung carcinoma, and uterine carcinoma, thyroid cancer, pancreatic cancer, cervical cancer, oral cancer, oral tract cancer, and lymphoma. The full text of this study, a combined preclinical therapy of cannabinoids and TMZ against glioma, appears in the Journal of Molecular Cancer Therapeutics. Our final hemp news medical story tonight's out of the United Kingdom, Reading in the UK. The administration of non-psychotropic cannabinoid CBD, or cannabidiol, significantly reduces the incidences and severity of seizures, according to preclinical data published online in Seizure, the Journal of British Epilepsy Association. Investigators at the University of Reading School of Pharmacy in the United Kingdom assessed the anticonvulsant activity of CBD administered in 1, 10, and 100 milligram per kilo doses in 2 established rodent seizure models, the acute pilocarpine model of temporal lobe seizure and the penicillin model of partial seizure. Seizure activity was video recorded and scored offline using model-specific seizure severity scales. The authors reported, quote, CBD, all doses, significantly reduced the percentage of animals experiencing the most severe of these seizures. In the penicillin model, CBD at all doses significantly increased the percentage of seizure-free animals and decreased the percentage of animals experiencing the most severe seizures, and decreased the median seizure severity and showed a strong trend to reduce mortality, end quote. They concluded, quote, these studies extend the anticonvulsant profile of CBD. When combined with the reported absence of psychoactive effects, this evidence strongly supports CBD as a therapeutic candidate for a diverse range of human epilepsies, end quote. The survey data published in the 2004, a different study in 2004 in the Journal of Neurology, reported that 21% of subjects with epilepsy had used marijuana in the past year, quote, with the majority of active users reporting beneficial effects on seizures, end quote. The full text of this new study, cannabidiol exerts anticonvulsant effect in animal models of temporal lobe and partial seizures, appears online in Seizure, the journal of the British Epilepsy Association. That's the end of our hemp news segment, but we do have a local story to talk about. We, at our THCF medicinal gardens this week, suffered a break-in at about 4:50 a.m. on Sunday morning. An alarm went off, and so we had burglars that were actually caught and arrested. There were 4 burglars, according to our security cameras. Out of those 4 burglars that came in 2 cars, 2 of them were arrested and 2 were able to get away on foot. But they left the 2 cars behind, a minivan and a truck. And those cars, or those vehicles, were impounded by the Portland Police. So we'd like to say thank you to the Portland Police Bureau for protecting our patients and preserving the peace and safety of our neighborhoods and catching the bad guys. They were very supportive and nice officers, and we'd like to extend a big that-a-boy and girl to the Portland Police Bureau. So that's a happy one to report. How are you tonight, Tim and Jonathan?
All right. I'm not running from the police, and that's a good thing. It's good that we're all on the same side on this one.
That's true.
That's
true.
how I see it. We've turned a big corner in our life when we now can count on the police's support and their help in our efforts to maintain a good living for the patients who need this medicine.
We did get the police there saying they support full legalization and they like what we're doing and like our work. So we're happy to earn their respect, and they certainly earned ours.
Well, I'm glad. Everybody is doing their job on this one. That's a nice thing. It really is.
Nice thing to announce.
I'm sorry that we had to suffer a break-in, but it looks.
But
like
we got them.
That's a good thing.
They're off the streets, and they'd been arrested previously, according to the officers, for other crimes.
Yes, well, then seems like they're bad boys and they need a little punishment.
They weren't happy, though. We have audio and video cameras in our garden. We might even have a picture of that. Can we pull that picture up? We'll see. But they were in there saying, you guys, where's the stuff? They were looking all through. I have a big pile of about 1.5 tons of hemp paper. They were tearing through the hemp paper. And so
didn't find what they were really.
They didn't find what they're looking for.
Well,
we're vegetating all our plants right now. We're preparing for a big outdoor crop,
right.
So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, the patients still won on this one. I'm glad.
Yeah,
that's very good. Shall we?
thank you, gentlemen. That sounded great.
Thank you.
That's Tim Pate and Jonathan Eater. And they'll be back at the closing of the show to provide a little bit more music. And Tim Pate is making his way over here to join us here for the show. So we are taking your phone calls tonight. Give us a call at 503-288-4448, 503-288-4448. I'd like to welcome Mr. Tim Pate. Welcome,
Paul, how are you?
Tim. Very well, very well.
You have a lot of show and telling for
We
you
have a
there.
few things here. I've been going through the archives, and that's what we got.
Very nice.
So we have a few of the neater ones to show tonight, but we'll talk more about that a little later. We do have a phone caller who's standing by, so let's welcome to the show. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Very good. How are you?
Staying busy.
How are you doing tonight? Hey,
Very well.
I had a couple questions for you.
Right.
First of all, I'm a patient and I'm my own grower,
Okay.
right? And now my grower identification just expired, but my patient ID is still current for like another 6 months.
Now, let me ask you, the grower ID is for someone else?
Right.
It's not your own grower identification because they would expire at the same time.
Right.
So you're holding a card as a grower for someone else. Are you your own grower, or do you name someone else as your own grower?
I'm just a grower for myself, and I'm a caregiver for my roommate.
For another person. And so that grower card, your roommate's card, just expired.
Well, no, I think he's current as well.
Now, his card would expire at the same time as yours. They would, the card for each patient and the caregiver associated with that patient and the grower associated, because here in Oregon, 3 types of cards are issued by the state health department. The grower card, the caregiver card, and of course the patient card. So
Okay, now I only have to pay like one time just for the patient then?
that's right. You just pay per patient. You don't pay for a caregiver or a grower card. Those are added, one per patient. So
Okay, that's
if one of your cards is expiring, that means one of your patients is expiring. Their card is, their ID. Of course, we hope they're healthy and they're not going to expire in the
not
mortal
expired.
sense.
Yeah, right. No, we're healthy. Here's another question I have for you. Is, I was over at the new Cannabis Cafe just recently.
Uh-huh.
Probably like, I don't know, I went to a meeting and I guess they canceled the meeting over there. But we went into the Cannabis Cafe anyway, and I renewed my Oregon Normal card there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I still haven't got it. So how long should I expect to wait for that, my Oregon Normal card too? And I didn't.
First of all, I have to say that I've only been to the Cannabis Cafe once since they opened over there on 82nd. So
Right.
I am not, I'm a member of Oregon Normal too, and I have a card, and I'm happy to be a member, and I'm glad they're helping patients in the ways they're helping patients. But I'm not responsible for, and our organization, of course, I'm not sure how long it takes for them to mail their cards out. When did you sign up? Now that I've given you my mea culpa.
Well, I just renewed it. It was probably about a month ago or so.
Yeah. Well, some of these people smoke marijuana, and sometimes they're a little slower than you might expect. But I'm sure if you contact
They're working on it. They're working on it. I'm certain with the number of patients that they've had, add
I
names.
know. They said sometimes it takes 5 months to get your card or something.
well, I don't think it takes that long in most cases, but
Then you need to be.
I
extra
can't
patient.
really speak to that. But I know that if you contact them, they'll be able to give you a straight answer. At least I hope
That's
they
wonderful. I'll give them a buzz.
There you
I
go.
really appreciate you guys.
can. And if you go there, you might get a buzz too.
That's it.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys on the air all the time, and
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. Thanks for that call. It gave me a few cheap shots of humor there.
I know.
always
we did.
appreciate
That was,
that.
okay. Always helps.
So if you're out there and you have a call for us tonight, call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And we'll be taking your calls for about another, 30 or 40 minutes or so.
We should be glad it takes them a while to get cards out, not just normal, but the state, because, over time you accumulate extra months, and you're.
That's true. It takes the state. I think they've got it down to about 60 days right now.
It's better than it has been. When it first began, it took 2-3
It
months
varied.
or more.
There were times it took
could.
more than 6 months
I
with
know,
the
I
Oregon
know.
program, and I think that's true. In most states, they aren't ramped up for the demand they
Exactly.
experience at various times, and it comes unexpectedly in terms of bureaucracy. I mean, when President Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder made the announcement that the federal government were not going to prosecute people who follow their state medical marijuana law, that caused a big boom all over the country.
Good.
And they went from about 35,000 cards in Colorado to 170,000 cards.
Whoa.
And so here in Oregon, I think we're up to about 50,000 permit holders now.
So that means they're going to have to process, 3,000 cards a week just to keep up. That's a lot.
They closed their door or their window to taking them in Colorado.
Did they?
Here in Oregon, they expanded the gate. I was happy when I went in there
Yes, they
to
did.
renew
Yes,
my
they did.
card. They have 2 windows now.
Yes,
No
they
waiting.
do. Yes.
So our minimal waiting.
Yeah, there was a line there for a while,
The
and there
line
isn't
had
now.
built up, and
Yeah.
there were always several people in that line. So now they have 2 windows, and we thank the Oregon Department of Health for expanding their program.
Well, I
to
think we're paying
meet
for
demand.
that through our fees, are we not?
That's true. That's true.
Yes. If
So-
they haven't rated the general fund or for the general fund again.
Well, they only did that once. They
Yes.
took $900,000.
Yes,
I think
they
it was
did.
back in 2005 that they took that out of the patient fund and used it for other health programs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of crazy to take the money of the sickest and
I know.
most ill people to
pay for the general fund
the
issues.
general fund.
That
But
doesn't make
anyway,
sense.
we have another caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
There you are.
Hey, I got a question.
You're
Let's
at the right
say
place.
I qualify for my OMMP card,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
but my doctor has canceled my pain meds because I tested positive with marijuana in my system.
Are you on a pain contract?
No, I was not on a contract.
Okay, you weren't on a contract. Well, there are other doctors out there, and I would recommend looking around for a doctor who knows about the utility of cannabis. But
Okay,
the one
and-
doctor just made you know what they do is they get you addicted to these drugs, these painkillers that really are not meant to be taken regularly for more than a period of 3 or 4 days. Once you've taken them for 4 or 5 days, you're hooked. And your body, and when you quit taking them, you'll experience anxiety and
Withdrawal
lack
symptoms.
of sleep and,
Yeah.
and
I've been
mild
through that.
withdrawals. The longer you take them, the more withdrawal symptoms there are. And so
I
they
guess
get
I
you
have a part
addicted to
to it.
these painkillers, and then they tell you you're a drug seeker and that you need to go through drug testing as you had to.
Yeah, exactly. And I told them, I'll be clean and clear, but I'm thinking the pills are the wrong way to go. But I'm in a vocation rehabilitation program as well. And so the clinic says that you have to pay a certain amount, but the program I'm in doesn't pay us until our training is complete. So do you have any other routes to being able to go about this?
So you mean another route to get through this treatment that you're supposed to go through?
Well, to working on getting my card, like I've already got my paperwork in. They're telling me I have to pay us so much money, but I won't be able to afford the money until, I get the program I'm in complete.
I see. So you're talking about the state fee that you pay for the card.
Yeah, or the
So
doctor's appointment.
yeah, there's a fee that's $100 a year for most people, but if you're on the Oregon Health Plan or on food stamps or get the several other public programs, then they lower it down to just $20 a year.
Okay, and that's the appointment and the card?
That's the card. Just
Yeah,
the card.
just the card. That's to take care of the card itself.
Okay. And for the appointment, they regular, does that fluctuate at all? Or?
Yeah. If you are on food stamps, and there are most clinics that handle medical marijuana exclusively have a low income fee, and you can ask for that.
Okay.
But it
okay,
changes
great.
from clinic to clinic, and if you're getting your own doctor to do it, then it's whatever fee you pay your doctor through.
Yeah,
whatever.
he actually said that he wasn't qualified to do that.
Yeah, he's wrong, but as long as he's an MD or a DO in the state of Oregon, then he's qualified to do it. But they make their own
He's
choices.
just making it tough. Okay.
I think he's a CEO, a cop out.
All right, okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Now, how many doctors in this state are signing cards now?
Out of the 8,000 doctors, 2,200 doctors now sign medical marijuana cards. Now, the majority of those doctors have only signed 1 or 2, but there are about 15 or 20 that have signed a good number,
yeah.
like 100 or
right,
more.
Right.
And so
So
that's
there's
how
a
it works
good
in the state
number
of
of
Oregon.
doctors.
Of course, it's different in different states. I'm talking about the state we record our show live on. You know, we also start playing on Wednesday nights at 7:30 in Missoula. We're
Hello,
now
Missoula.
on in suburban Detroit as well as Detroit as well. And we've been on for many years in Denver and Seattle. So we want to welcome you to the show. You're watching delayed. We're taping this on the 28th of January, 2011. So if you're not watching on the 28th of January, 2011, you can't call us. But if you are, you can call us at 503-288-4448.
Or they can get us on the web, live.
At ustream.tv. You can watch us on YouTube as well, but tonight's show won't be on until Saturday through the magic of our director and producer out there, Mr. Appel. So there's Ustream. There it is. That's the address. Ustream.tv.org.
We have people all over the country who watch us on that. I know that.
Yeah,
We get
yeah.
calls from across the country. So if you're out there somewhere tonight and have a question, feel free to call us. This is time to do it.
You know, before YouTube came out there, we got 10 to 25,000 hits a week on our video archive and about 5 to 10,000 hits a week on our TV show. But with the advent of YouTube, our video server went down for a while and our numbers dropped a lot lower because we weren't there for several months as YouTube exploded. And so, but it's amazing, you know, there was just a big question period with President Obama through YouTube, and they had the ones that got the most votes got to get their question played on YouTube, and President Obama answered those questions.
Right.
And out of those questions, unbelievably, the top 200 questions were about ending marijuana and drug prohibition.
That's right.
And the number one was from a retired police officer with law enforcement against prohibition, LEAP. And so President Obama watched that clip, and he then said that he laughed a little bit and said, "Oh, I'm not for legalization. I think we should debate this, and I think we shouldn't be spending money on incarceration. We should focus on treatment. But I'm not in favor of legalization." It's what President Obama said. So basically what he's saying to us, and then the marijuana users amount to more than 9 out of 10 of the people arrested, is that we all need to be forced into treatment and told what's better for us.
Right.
And so
that's what he's saying.
That's what he's currently saying. Now, I'm hopeful that President Obama will change in the second term. I mean, if you look at President Obama's high school yearbook, he's got 2 books of zigzag rolling papers there, and he says on there, shout out to the Chuma Gang, which was a group of marijuana smokers that were famous there in Hawaii. So he obviously, and in his biography, admitted he used marijuana pretty regularly from his high school years through his first half of his undergraduate college experience.
So he says.
That's what he says. Well, he's still a tobacco smoker, though.
So
he's out there.
It's a tough one to break.
It is. It's a hard one. You've recently had some success with that.
I have. I have not had a cigarette in nearly a year now. Since last February, so I'm coming up on my
congratulations. It's a hard one to kick.
It is, but I did it, so.
All right. We have a film clip we're going to roll, and we'll be back in just a second, so hope you enjoy this clip.
Okay, once your plant gets big enough, it's going to outgrow its container. So at that point, you're going to need to transplant it to a larger container.
Signs of root-bound plants include slow, sickly growth and branches with excessive distance between limbs. To check for root-bound symptoms, remove the plant from its pot and examine its roots to see if they are deeply matted on the bottom and surrounding sides of the pot.
If we just take this plant here, move the container a little bit, touch the container, and then gently pull it off, we'll see that there's roots everywhere around the edge of the container. This plant is pot-bound or root-bound. These roots don't have anywhere to go.
Tiny root hairs are very delicate and may easily be destroyed by light, air, or clumsy hands.
In order to keep this plant growing quickly and give enough room for the roots, we'll transplant it into this 3-gallon container full of organic mix.
Always transplant into the same or similar type of growing medium.
Now the first thing I'm going to want to do is to open a little hole in this container. I'll open it a little bit more, and then I'll just take this very carefully and set it down in the container and backfill around it and push the soil into good, strong contact with the root system. Now I'll just give it a good watering, and I'll tell you, this is really important. You give it lots of water. Do not be afraid to overwater this plant, because you can't. Now we'll just wait for this to drain on down, and that's it. That's done. It's that easy. Do a few hundred of these and you'll get the hang of it.
Once transplanted, cannabis requires low levels of nitrogen and potassium and increased quantities of phosphorus. Photosynthesis and chlorophyll production are slowed, as are water and nutrient absorption. Transplant late in the day so transplants will have all night to recover. Also, give transplants filtered, less intense light for a couple of days.
Fuck, man, we got a major situation here.
What, the squirrels again?
No, it's not squirrels, man. This is much bigger than fucking squirrels. Look at these little black specks.
What are they?
That fucking thing. What the hell is that? Fuck, you know what's going on here?
What?
Dope-eating insects, man. They're gonna fucking wipe out the whole crop, just like happened to me in grade 7. Remember that?
Ricky, this can't be happening, all right?
Pests, fungi, and diseases.
All right, that is from Jorge Cervantes Cultivation, and that was a little clip of the Trailer Park Boys. They're big up in Canada on
trash,
the
Trailer
CBC.
Park.
Yeah, the Trailer Park Boys are
Okay.
a Canadian comedy series. They're using some. That's why we have that disclaimer
Colorful language.
at the top
Rather
of the
green.
show.
Yeah.
We are taking your phone calls live here, so call us at 503-288-4448. We're going to take your phone call here and then come back with our show and tell of our antique bottles here. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hey, this is Robert. How you doing?
Good. Very well. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm being a person who partakes. I get a little bit paranoid at times, and I've been offered the opportunity to get a caregiver or a caretaker card.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought on this is, if I were to get one of these cards, my name goes on a list with this card. And it's a state-run setup. The patient card, the caregiver card, and the caretaker card.
Yeah.
What if the federal government decides one day that they're tired of the state doing this?
Well, I've got a good story to tell on that one, so that's a very good question.
Because my thought is the names are all on a list.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Well, it does go into a private list, but the state of Oregon, by law, has to keep that private. And the federal law says that your medical privacy overrides the marijuana laws. And about 2007, the state of Oregon and me, I received a subpoena from the federal government for our medical records on 17 patients. And so the state of Oregon and our organization, THCF Medical Clinics, went to court and fought the subpoena. It was from a grand jury investigation. And we went to court, and then the chief judge for the federal court, about 9 months later, ruled that the state's right and the state law overcame the federal law. And
Very
that
nice.
the state law to protect the patient's privacy and our interest in our clinic, our interest in our patient's privacy overcame the federal law. In fact, the judge wrote in his closing sentence, the THCF Medical Clinic's records represent the implementation and therefore the success of the state's program and are therefore protected from this federal subpoena. Now, in federal court, grand juries are the strongest arm of investigation when it comes to the judicial system. Grand jury subpoenas generally overcome most privacy concerns, including medical record concerns. But in this case, the federal judge protected us, and that hasn't been litigated again. So the state of Oregon also went to bat, and they produced lawyers and also argued to protect our patients' privacies, and both of those subpoenas were quashed. In fact, if you go to our website at thc-foundation.org, you'll see a little scroll there right across the top that says, "We protect patient privacy." If you click on that, that'll take you, and you'll see the ruling from the federal court judge back in September of 2007, where they quashed that subpoena and protected those patients' privacy.
According to the state attorney general here in Oregon as well, he's issued an opinion stating that any police officer that comes across a suspected marijuana grow is supposed to contact the registry to find out if it's not on the state registry.
The federal government has said as long as you're abiding by state law and following the state law, you're protected from investigation. The Attorney General Eric Holder said that in October of 2009.
So you want on that list?
Yeah, it's a list, yes, but it's a good list to be on because you're protected. And it's protected me in a half dozen different instances where I could have been arrested if I'd been, like just this week, I had thieves break into our garden and the police came and arrested the 2 thieves. And they said they liked what we were doing, they supported our work on behalf of patients, and that the Portland Police Bureau, at least with these police officers, believe that marijuana should be legal and they don't want to have to enforce marijuana prohibition against peaceful adults. So that's a good list to be on. It protected me on Sunday morning.
Okay. Then I feel better about it.
Good.
That was everything I needed to know. I appreciate it. I heard you say that you're on in Detroit. Is that correct?
Yes. That's right, yeah.
Well,
in Oakland
I have a
County
Facebook
and
friend out there named Cece, and I'd like to give her a shout-out, and my nickname is Boobs, so I have to say that so she knows who I am. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, well, tell her to tune in at Ustream or watch us on their local cable access channel.
Will do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Show and tell.
That was one of our proudest moments, really, to be able to, you know, when I got that subpoena, I wasn't going to, it said if you make this subpoena public, you know, you can be prosecuted for jeopardizing a criminal investigation. Of course, I immediately made it public and had a press conference, and so I was really happy when the judge ruled in our favor on that. And it is very difficult to overcome the grand jury
subpoena. So were those
subpoena.
17 patients.
Yeah, they were. We did call them and let them know it was going on, so it was a little scary. Yeah. Okay, so we have a number of very interesting cannabis products, most of them with the exception of one, a antique. So we'll start right here with this one. This is American Cannabis from Specific Medicines. And so this was a cannabis extract that it was just raw in here, actually, not an extract. It was raw American hemp. And so that's one. This one's from Britain. These little hexagon bottles are meant for poisons, and so this was a Cannabis indica. I don't know if you can read. Yeah, you can read it. There it is. Cannabis indica, a British product here on the back. It's from a specific pharmacist. Then right over next to us from one of the major pharmaceutical companies here in America, from Eli Lilly. And it's a fluid extract number 96. Eli Lilly had about 8 different cannabis products, including powdered hashish. We had that on the show a couple of weeks ago. This one has an interesting label. I'm just going to turn it around and read it. Maybe we'll scroll over to this next one. Eli Lilly's bottle says that it is antispasmodic, sedative, and narcotic used in insanity, hysteria, and migraines.
There you go.
There it is. This one is a container, what they call quack medicine, kind of, but it has cannabis extract, and the actual, this comes out of this wrapping, and it's written in 13 languages. We have 2 multilingual cannabis extracts. This other one is linden cough balsam, and it is alcohol and cannabis indica and chloroform. So that will definitely stop your cough. It came with this nifty little 12-language fold-out handout here. Let's see, what does that say? Zawad? I don't know what that says. That's some strange language there. I don't know. Anyway, let's see if you get that. There it is. What does that say? I don't know. What language is that? Okay. Anyway, it comes in this container here. Then last but not least, right off the shelf in our local health food store, we have hemp seed nut. These are hulled hemp seeds, highly nutritious, has all the omega-3 that you could want, and it'll keep you healthy, help your brain, heart, and immune system, and give you a good vegan source of protein as well.
True.
So you should try these. They taste like cross between sunflower seeds and walnuts. They have kind of a walnut or pecan after flavor. They're really tasty.
I put them on my my grape
You can
nuts.
do all kinds of
I
things
do in the morning for breakfast.
They
That's
go
what I
with
do
the
with
wild
them.
hickory nut, grape nut flavor.
They do.
and,
They do. They're delicious.
So if you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We have a couple of questions off the internet here. One of them is from Las Vegas. I have a waiver for 21 plants from my doctor, but I've heard it isn't lawful to be over 7 plants by law. Is this true? Yes, that is true. Having over 7 plants with your doctor's authorization is known as an affirmative defense. An affirmative defense is something you bring up while you're being prosecuted. So if you're going to go on an affirmative defense, you can expect that the police will probably seize your plants. You'll be taken to jail. You'll go through the court system, but you might be able to bring up the fact that your doctor said you could have 21 instead of 7. It's a lot safer to go with 7. You know, I'm able to grow big plants outdoors that produce 7 to 15 pounds, that are 10 to 15 feet tall. So now's the time to start your outdoor plants and put them out in mid-April. You'll have a huge harvest come October. So that's the way I recommend doing it. Just grow bigger plants and fewer of them. I'm able to supply multiple patients with 1 plant, but that's the way it is.
So don't mess with your numbers. Just keep them down and grow
Yeah,
bigger
it's
plants.
better to not have to be arrested and go to court.
Now, they did have some raids in Las Vegas here recently.
They did. In
didn't
fact,
they?
the federal government came in and has indicted several of the Las Vegas dispensaries. Dr. Reefer was one of the most
what I
famous
saw,
out there, and they've been indicted, and so have several others. Now, I'm not sure of the basis of those indictments, but it definitely will have a chilling effect on the medical marijuana program there in Vegas. And
Yes, it will.
obviously, if
Yes, it
the
will.
authorities are willing to do that, then it's not a good thing. We have helped patients in Vegas. We haven't been there recently. It didn't turn out to be cost effective for us to go very often, but we might be back. Then we have a question saying, do you think the government is working to make money off legalization before they end this nonsense? Well, you know, there are certain segments, especially the drug police and the drug treatment people, who are trying to make money off of the marijuana
every day.
use. And in fact, there's a big move against Prop 19 in California by the dispensaries, the medical dispensaries, some of the medical dispensaries, I should add, down in California. So there are economic interests in prohibition. In fact, I really have said for many years, and I'll say it here one more time, that marijuana prohibition is not about drugs. That's simply a smokescreen. Marijuana prohibition is really about money and the continued centralization of economic and political control. So anytime, you know, the petrochemical companies don't want to compete with hemp biodiesel. The drug agents want to arrest peaceful marijuana smokers and leave the dangerous drug addicts and Mexican drug cartels alone, at least some of them. And so we want to see marijuana legalized, and we're working to that end. And you can find out more about our work. We have a petition that is in the process of going through the ballot title certification process to completely legalize marijuana here in Oregon. And if you go to that website, cannabistaxact.org, you can get to it. We also have a web portal out there that you can get to our Cannabis Tax Act site. You can get to our THCF medical clinic site through hemp.org. That's HEMP.org. Very fine portal to all of our sites for cannabis information. We have a caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm calling because I received my card in the mail last week, and I've been smoking for chronic pain. And I find when I eat like a cookie or a brownie, it's just not very effective for the pain. And I saw like, you know, I know you guys were speaking tonight, you know, about putting things like on your cereal. And I've seen things before on the show, like
now this is not psychoactive.
This
is
wouldn't
a
be a
food
medicine.
product.
This
It's
is a
high
food
in
product.
protein. It's not the floured. It's made from the seeds of the marijuana plant, and so this is legal. The flowers aren't legal. Now, how you get the seeds without the flowers? That's a new trick. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I saw before, like, you guys had, like, an oil.
Yeah.
Like a glycerin.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I didn't
glycerin
know if
extract and oil extract and also alcohol-based extract. In fact, this bottle right here from Eli Lilly is an alcohol-based extract, and most of these liquid medicines are alcohol-based extracts that we have here.
And would that have
Because
the
they're
same
antiques.
effect as, like, the cookie or brownie?
Well, you know, for chronic pain, you need to eat. You can eat just the leaf, but instead of eating a small amount, you need to eat about 3 or 4 grams of the leaf, and then that's going to have a better effect on your chronic pain condition.
It needs to be activated in some way.
Yeah, you have to heat it up first to about 215 degrees, below 250, and you heat it up for about 15 minutes, and what that does is it decarboxylates it. That means it strips off the carbon dioxide molecule, and that makes the cannabinoids active medicinally. And so once you've done that, you can put it in a food, or you can just put it in a capsule and take it that way.
Yeah,
but you have to have a larger dose to get the real pain effect.
Yeah, because that must be the problem. It's just I must not be eating enough.
Yeah, and you don't have to use the buds. You can use the leaf, because the leaf has just as much CBD or cannabidiol as the flowers do. Where the flowers mainly have THC, the CBD is found throughout the vegetation of the plant, the leaves and the flowers.
Yeah, because otherwise I don't think I'd be able to eat
3 or 4
that
grams.
much.
Yeah, if you ate 3 or 4 grams of the flowers, it would probably make you want to sleep for about a day.
Yes.
And you'd feel kind of like you took some LSD or something.
Yeah.
But that's why we recommend you eat that much leaf, because you need more CBD for pain and spasms and anti-tumoral effects of cannabidiol.
You know, it's hard too when you haven't broken through that pain threshold for a while. You've had that pain for a while. It's hard to break through that sometimes too.
Yeah, because I just can't imagine eating 4 grams every 3 hours. It sounds like.
Well, no, you don't have. That's the other thing about when you take it orally.
Yeah.
You don't have to take it as often. You can just put it in a capsule and take 1 or 2 capsules, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. And that's the way that works best for a lot of our pain, glaucoma, spastic patients, is to take it in capsule form. And if you take the leaf, you won't get the high associated, but you'll get a big dose of the CBD.
And it's longer lasting.
Great. Yeah, because I was reading that there were different forms, you know, like different kind of pain conditions, and there's certain ways to treat. You know, some ways were better to smoke and.
Yeah. For rapid onset, smoking or vaporizing works well as a delivery system for mainly THC, but there is some CBD in there, so you do get the benefit of some of the CBD when you smoke or to a lesser extent vaporize.
Okay.
But
so get a whole
when you
lot
eat it,
so I just typically like have a butter or something.
Yeah. So you should try making a butter just out of the leaf, and put in more for each cup of butter. Put in 4 cups of leaf.
Okay.
And then let that cook for a couple of hours at low heat, simmer heat, and then just strain the leaf off and use that butter.
Yes.
And then about a spoon of that, a tablespoon, should be just fine.
Okay.
Okay, I
great.
hope that helps.
Well, I'll just eat lots of butter.
Yeah, or you can put it in oil. Olive oil is good and good for you. So.
Okay,
or
great.
hemp seed oil is another good one out there.
Yeah, and then maybe just use it in like
Glycerin
salad dressing.
is kind of sweet. You can get that at most farms, and it adds a little bit of a sweet flavor, and it's good for you too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for all your information. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for your good questions. You have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
It's good to have choices.
That's true.
It's good to have choices. If one thing doesn't work, something else may work. So keep trying. You'll find something that will work for you. I'm sure of it.
Well, we are down to just about 7 minutes to go here, so we might squeeze another caller in there. If you have a question for us, you can call us at that number there on your screen, 503-288-4448. If you're out there and you're looking for a doctor that can help you get a medical marijuana permit, then we have doctors and a physician referral service that can help you get doctors from coast to coast and then even way out in Hawaii. So if you need help finding a doctor, you can give us a call. Here in the Portland area, you can call us at 503-235-4606. That number there on your screen. It's 503-235-4606. If you're watching us outside of the Portland area, you can call us toll free at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. And we have doctors that will be proud to help you, cannabis specialists, and teach you about the intricacies of how to take cannabis in various doses. So that'll work. So Tim, you and Jonathan are going to play a little bit more music here in just a few minutes.
We've always got something planned. We always have something planned. It's just that's just the way it is. I like having Jonathan over there too. It's fun.
He's great.
It's fun to play with.
He's an old friend of mine. He worked in my hemp paper company
That's what you
way
said.
back when.
Yeah.
About 15, 20 years ago.
And he still talks to you.
And he does. That's right.
That's good.
Anyway, we have one more caller. Welcome to our show, caller.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Very well. How are you?
I'm good. Anyways, my name's Bill, and
Bill.
I came to your office back in 2000, right after Dr. Levesque was gone, and I forget the doctor's name that I saw.
Maybe
but
Dr.
anyways,
Dodge
I moved to Idaho, and I'm back in town now, and I have hepatitis C, and it was really easy for me. I just had to have proof from my other doctor that I had hep C, and I came to your office, and you guys gave me what I needed to do. Is it still that easy? And
Yes.
what's the prices nowadays?
Just call
and
the
that?
number there on your screen. I think the price come down a little over the years, but you can call us at 503-235-4606 here in the Portland area, or the toll-free number 1-800-723-0188.
All right. Anyways, I appreciate that then.
You're welcome.
Welcome
All
back
right.
from Idaho.
And we still have Dr. Levesque on our show periodically. He comes on,
All right,
and
well, that's good to hear.
he's in good spirits
Yes,
and
he is.
good health. He's remarkably well. He's going to be 90 soon.
Yes.
But he doesn't look a day over 75.
No. And he's still a hero.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
And,
yes, he is to me too.
One of Patton's soldiers that
Yes,
went in
indeed.
there and met the Russians after marching across Germany. He crossed the Rhine under
Yes, he
fire
did. Yes, he
in a
did.
boat while the Germans were firing on him, and went behind enemy lines as a scout in the infantry. So
Yes.
he is a hero in every
Yes, he
sense
is.
of the word.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it takes a
Good
brave
year,
man to
good
do what
year.
he's done.
Thanks for your call.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night.
You too. And as I said, we are going to be closing up here, so want to remind you that if you need some help finding a doctor, that we have physician services and a physician referral service all across the country. You can call us toll free at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. Or here in the Portland area, you can call us at 503-235-4606. And again, if you're interested in finding out about our work to legalize marijuana, you can go to the cannabistaxact.org, cannabistaxact.org for more information there, or our web portal at hemp.org. That's HEMP.org. And so we'll be back next week. We're going to go out on a couple minutes of music by Mr. Tim Paint and Jonathan Eder. You guys are ready to go again?
We're ready.
All righty. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.